On November 29, 1947, the United Nations General Assembly adopted Resolution 181, recommending the partition of Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states. The Jewish community accepted the plan, celebrating the prospect of an independent state. However, the Arab states and Palestinian Arabs rejected it, leading to immediate tensions and violence. In the months leading up to May 1948, both Jewish and Arab paramilitary groups engaged in fierce fighting. This period saw increasing hostilities, setting the stage for full-scale war. On May 14, 1948, David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of the State of Israel. The very next day, armies from Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq invaded, marking the official start of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. The war was fought on multiple fronts, with key battles taking place in Jerusalem, the Negev Desert, and along the coastal plains. It was a brutal conflict involving regular armies, paramilitary groups, and civilians caught in the crossfire. The war also led to significant humanitarian crises, with hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Arabs becoming refugees, an event they call the Nakba, or catastrophe. The Kibbutz Yad Mordechai, located near the coast of Israel and around 36 kilometers south of Tel Aviv, was established in 1943. By 1948, it had become a strategic location due to its proximity to the route connecting Gaza and Tel Aviv. During the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, Yad Mordechai found itself on the front line as Egyptian forces advanced from the south. In May 1948, shortly after Israel declared its independence, the Egyptian army launched a large-scale offensive into Israel. Their aim was to advance northwards and capture Tel Aviv, thereby cutting the nascent Israeli state in two. As part of this strategy, Yad Mordechai, which was strategically situated on the road to Tel Aviv, became a prime target. The Egyptian tactics leading up to the capture of Yad Mordechai in 1948 were part of a broader strategic plan to advance into Israel and potentially capture Tel Aviv. Here's a detailed account of the tactics employed by the Egyptian forces. The Egyptian army aimed to penetrate deeply into Israeli territory to disrupt and possibly destroy the nascent state of Israel. Their strategy involved moving northward from the Gaza Strip along the coastal road, a route that would lead them directly to Tel Aviv. Capturing key positions along this route was crucial, and Yad Mordechai, located near the road connecting Gaza to Tel Aviv, became an essential target. Before launching the assault on Yad Mordechai, the Egyptian forces secured their supply lines and established forward positions. They had already captured several villages and positions in the Negev, which allowed them to consolidate their hold on the region and prepare for the next phase of their offensive. The Egyptians conducted reconnaissance missions to gather intelligence on the strength, fortifications, and defensive preparations of Yad Mordechai. Understanding the layout and the defensive strategies of the kibbutz was vital for planning their attack. On May 19, 1948, the Egyptians began their assault with an intense artillery bombardment. The bombardment aimed to weaken the defensive positions, destroy fortifications, and demoralize the defenders. The Egyptian artillery included heavy guns and mortars, which targeted the bunkers, trenches, and key structures within the kibbutz. Following the bombardment, Egyptian infantry units moved in to assault the kibbutz. The attacks were coordinated and involved waves of infantry trying to breach the defensive lines. The Egyptians employed both frontal assaults and flanking maneuvers to overwhelm the defenders. The Egyptians utilized tanks and armored vehicles to support their infantry attacks. The armour was crucial in providing firepower and protection against the small arms and light anti-tank weapons possessed by the defenders. The tanks aimed to penetrate the perimeter defences and create breaches through which the infantry could advance. The Egyptian forces attempted to encircle the kibbutz to cut off any potential reinforcements and to prevent the defenders from escaping. By surrounding Yad Mordechai, they aimed to isolate it completely and force its defenders into a position where surrender would be inevitable. Despite the determined defense, the Egyptians' superior numbers and firepowers gradually wore down the defenders. By May 24th, the defenders were running low on ammunition and supplies, and their ability to resist further attacks was severely compromised. Realizing the untenable situation, the decision was made to evacuate Yad Mordechai. Under the cover of darkness, the defenders and civilians retreated, leaving the kibbutz to the Egyptians. The Egyptian entered Yad Mordechai on May 25th, finding it largely deserted.
Decided or debated, with human life as the stake. How were they to live? And where were they to go? Here to the United States? Yes, a few. To Palestine? Yes, a few. Under the terms of the British mandate, a pitiful handful were allowed to go to Palestine. But even they saw the land of their fathers through barbed wire. But you've not seen these before. Illegal ships, they call them. Boarded by the British and turned away from Palestine. They waited to go to Cyprus, and as they waited, they remembered Dachau, displaced persons camps, and now Cyprus. Illegal entry?
At a special session, the General Assembly of the United Nations established a special committee on Palestine and sent it to this troubled area to study the problems and make recommendations. The United Nations Committee spent months in Palestine traveling over the disputed areas and conferring with Arabs and Jews. The majority of the committee members recommended that Palestine be partitioned into an Arab state and a Jewish state, and under international control, the city of Jerusalem, the three to be linked by economic union. The General Assembly accepted this recommendation.